Hi Year 11, welcome to our second lesson on intercultural communication. Today we'll be starting our second syllabus dot point, distal one out here, verbal and non-verbal communication. Again, please make sure you pause this video to take notes along the way. So the process of communication really involves, at a minimum, two people. We need a sender who generates a message and a receiver who receives a message. However, it's not quite that simple. Because what happens between those two people, the sender and the receiver, is lots of interpretation occurs. And it's very easy for a message that is ambiguous anyway to be misinterpreted. Things that can be aiding that misinterpretation is what we call noise. Noise acts as a barrier to clear communication. It might be things like mispronunciation, body language, gestures, poor spelling, cultural differences. These all act as noise that prevent us from effectively communicating. The message that's sent from the sender to the receiver could go through a variety of different channels. It could be a direct channel, person to person. It could be an online channel, if you think via social media or via text. And when the sender sends their message, they encode it with their own preconceived ideas of what they want the receiver to actually understand. When the receiver receives that message, they try and decode that with their own preconceived ideas of what they want the sender to say. So it's really, really easy for misunderstanding to occur, and it's quite a miracle that more misunderstandings don't occur. Effective communication involves minimizing potential noise or barriers to each part of the communication process. Now, with the development of technology, really communication should have become easier. But what we're finding is actually it's becoming harder. Things like text speak, emojis, using punctuation or not in text messages actually can be very confusing for that sender-receiver encoding. Is it okay to put a full stop after your message? Or does that imply that you're angry? Do you overuse emojis? Do you not use emojis at all? Does it change the context or the feel of a message if there is an emoji there versus if there's not? There's all these added extra things to think about in this new digital age of communication. This is a visual of that encoding, decoding process that I've just mentioned. We have our sender, we have a receiver. Each one of those senders and receivers come with their own personal experience, cultural backgrounds, and what they intend to say versus what they want to hear. Everything I mentioned before about noise, the barriers, goes both ways. And this is the communication process that we use in society and culture. As part of the course, we have some key concepts. I gave you a list of those glossary terms last lesson, so I hope you've had a look at them. One concept I'd like to focus on now is the term cultural relativism. Oh, that was some noise there, I mispronounced it. Cultural relativism. The idea that cultures are socially constructed and vary across cultures. Therefore, one must be objective when considering cultures and not judge them based on the norms and values of their own. It's basically social cultural literacy. The problem is lots and lots of people don't have it. And that's why this process of communication can be particularly difficult when we're communicating across cultures, because these senders and receivers don't necessarily engage in cultural relativism and can't see other cultures for their own unique purpose. What I'm going to ask you to do now is to watch an episode of a show called An Idiot Abroad. I've put the link on Schoolbox underneath this video. If you're not a Ricky Gervais fan, you might find it hard to watch, but it is a bit funny. It is a sketch show. It's a short series, but it is actually quite an accurate representation of how some people communicate between cultures. I hope it's none of you, and I hope that you are a bit appalled by some of the things that they say, to be quite honest. But I want you to consider while watching it what issues or noise might be being experienced while Carl, the person traveling, and the culture he's trying to communicate with are working together. What issues are there in their communication process? Is it a lack of cultural understanding? I'll let you decide. So I'd like you to write some notes while you're watching about some of the difficulties they face, and then come up with some strategies to perhaps encourage ways to overcome these difficulties. There's some minor swearing, nothing too major, so maybe don't play it at full volume in the family room, but it is a bit of an interesting watch. That should take you through to the end of the lesson, and what you need to do is submit the notes that you took onto Schoolbox as your due work. Once you've done that, you're finished for our double period, and I will see you in class on Monday.